go. All right. Okay. See you in a little while. Oh. Mm. within the series of these talks, they are very much meant to be educational, to pass on information, to give clarity or instruction. Of course, we could talk on many topics, and topics which may seem rather generic. The way the world turns, the events, of course, within the world, there's always plenty of those to talk about. The evolution of the mankind's mind, and the change in any spiritual nature of the human being. There are talks which are possible on the past, the present, and the future. But we did not want for this to be a simple demonstration. We did not want to just provide nice words, nice feelings, and everything will be okay in the end. Rather, this has the firm intent behind it of how to live your life right now. And the previous set of talks, you would know yourself that that was very much about how to live your life now. But these series, these range of talks, have been the development of various skills, initially healing and psychic work. And now we convert more into the spiritual aspect and how to work with spirit that come to you. To recognize, firstly, spirit are there, and then what to do about it. There are many courses, of course, many instructors, of course, that can guide you through this process. But they talk from the physical side and do not talk from the spirit side. And there is a common theme. A theme which, if you listen carefully to the previous two series and this series, and we'll talk more about that theme at a later date, after next week's talk. So now we want to push forward and to begin that spiritual process of linking with spirit by talking about mediumship. So without holding you any longer, I will pass on to my colleague to do the work. Now, before I do wish to say that although some of this words and knowledge is within the medium's mind, he does not talk about it in the way that we will. And further details will be added. So there is a little bit of the medium's memory or knowledge that will become visible to you, but only a small percentage. So I will return at the end. You got me again, ain't you? Aye? Rather nice now, making a bit of habit, innit? Kind of coming in, talking to you, explaining about bits and pieces in my own way. You know what I'm like, I ain't all that clear in terms of concise, but that's the way I am. Anyway, let's get going. Let's talk about our stuff and let's talk about mediumship and the way it can work, all right? Now, first thing is to understand where it comes from and the way it works through your body. Let's talk about the body bit first. In particular, the chakras or your energy centers at work. Now, firstly, initially, you must understand that it has to come from the heart too. But this is not the lower aspect of the heart, but the higher vibrational part, where the psychicness begins very much in the lower part of the heart, or the, if you like, a second heart chakra. Mediumship works at a far higher vibrational rate, so it has to work in the upper heart chakra if you want. So of course there tends to be lots of green with that, all right? So the heart here then needs to be very much working outwards, not working inwards. All right, so people who are doing this type of work have to place their attention externally and not internally. So externally is a feeling of spirit being around and feeling of spirits all around them. And you may notice as a consequence to this that people at times can feel heart flutters, heart vibrational increases, and they can feel like it's going to beat out of their chest and the heart's beating at a higher rate. And you know, when you see a scary movie or you just got a feeling of somebody being in the room, your heart rate increases then and all. Part of it, of course, is just a little bit of fear if you're watching a scary movie. That's the flight and fight syndrome thing. But the actual feeling of spirit being around you will naturally cause the heart rate to potentially, and not always, to increase. It can give you constrictions, tightness on your chest. It can make you feel like you're being hugged. So if you're worried about spirit being with you, listen to your body first and listen to that. Don't put your attention too far outwards just yet. Just listen to your insides and where you're feeling it. And this will also give you an indication of where the spirit is coming from in terms of intention. Yeah. So if it's going very much at your heart, but a lower bit of your heart, and experience will tell you the difference. It's there for your benefit. If you find it gives you a higher vibration in the upper heart bit, it's there for somebody else's benefit. So the heart needs to be then now vibrating a little quicker. If you're not making links, your heart could be the problem in terms of activating this heart. So the actual type of talk now changes. So with your lower heart, you may get very much more emotional speeches. And the upper heart, you may get more factual information being passed on. And of course, both of them have their place, don't they? You can't say it's got to be purely one or purely the other. They've got to be both active, but you'll find the upper heart, the higher vibration will start to be more prevalent. And of course, then this instigates your throat. And it's important again that the vibrational rate increases. Clairvoyance and clairaudience require the throat energy. Both of them must work well. Of course, if you're talking clairvoyance, you're going to say your third eye, ain't you? You're going to say the eyebrow bit, the pain in the head. And if you listen to people, if you really listen to people practicing this work or developing this work, you can often find them having like vibrational senses around their eyebrows. Of course, this is the bit of people seeing, isn't it? They see stuff. Anyway, back to the throat bit first. So here, the throat then needs to be vibrating very well and very highly, very cleanly. And then this gives the ability then for clairaudience, for you to hear spirit. And it's interesting, a lot of people think it's harder to hear. I can't hear them, but I can see them. But in essence, it ain't that hard. It ain't no difference. And I'm not talking hearing as just knowledge. I'm actually talking about either different ways of constructing sentences and words that may be given to you. If you're not hearing, you're not activating your throat well. It becomes quite natural, doesn't it, to activate your third eye and start to look. But clairvoyance and clairaudience, even though the one's on a bit more of a pedestal, are both active at the same time. And both are very much usable. And you'll find anybody that is, well, let's say experienced, will activate and switch between the two. So if you're developing and you're feeling spirit around you, look for the sensations. So is your throat active? Is your chest feeling pressure? Is your third eye got a tingle? And that'll give you some sensations and some confirmation. So as you would doubt at times that you've got the connection, your body will tell you the truth, as long as everything is working fine. Have you ever found, well, I shouldn't ask a question, should I? But I am. If you ever found that you can get a sensation from your third eye that goes all the way around your head, like wearing a crown, well, that sensation here of that vibration all the way around the head tells people, or tells the medium, but they would know this, that they are seeing and seeing quite sporadically. So they may be visiting lots of faces. So they don't just get one, they get many. This tells of the people's ability to use clairvoyance. So it's like wearing a crown on top of your head. If you got the crown on, you have the ability to see. Now, it may not become straight away, although this is possible. Some people are naturally just automatically have this gift. Remember, it starts from your third eye, goes all the way around above your ears and comes back to the third eye again. Now, if this is not used properly, as in this is an untrained medium, you'll probably find they get lots and lots of faces. And in times, these faces can look as if they're surprised, a bit of a shock. Well, what's happening is the medium is actually beginning to put their attention straight away into the astral world. And this is the world where spirit are standing there, hanging around, if you like, and up pops you to go and see them. So their faces tend to be a bit of a surprise. Weren't expecting you to pop in, and there you are, and all these faces are available. It's a sign that the gift is there, but it's a sign also that the gift needs to be trained or controlled or shown how to work in the proper way. And with essence, that band around the top of the head begins more and more to define on the third eye. And when it defines there, then the vision becomes clearer, and then the person viewing will only view one or maybe two spirit. So you can see with this part, again, the vibrational rate needs to be increasing. The vibrational rate of the medium, of course. So both of them can, or three of them, can give you all sensations, but the sensations are very much vibrational. So you can see now what I'm talking about. We've lifted the use of the chakras from solar plexus and heart to more heart, now to upper heart and the upper chakras. So you should spend some time in the cleansing and working for them. And you'll find this works really quite well. It is then an act of practice and preparation and somebody who can guide you with it. If you can find somebody to teach you or to work with that can see and work with your chakras, you'll find that you'll get the most benefit. When the benefit is working really well, they'll be able to refine. So, there's a message that was given to somebody a while ago that said that we will work with your throat. Now, it does not necessarily mean that your throat center is active, that we will work with your voice. Once your throat chakra is active, we could work with your ears and you could listen. So what helps to define whether you got this capability or not? What helps it to work at its best way? Well, the guides and the spirits working with you prefer someone that's quite open, someone that's quite able to access quite a broad range of knowledge and maybe vocabulary, and also prefer people that are not closed in their point of view. So you would find those which are quite strict in the way things are, strict in the way they look at life, and strict in opinions, maybe with prejudices. You'll find the information never flows as through as well. But anybody that's more open, more relaxed, and has a range of vocabulary that can be used will find the connection to spirit will be, well, let us say pure, more true, more easily to flow and to use various things in ways which the medium may not know about. So if you're finding blockages, you may be finding that your energy level is not working well, and you may be finding that you're closing down to work in ways which you know and are comfortable with, rather than being open. To those people having activity around them and they're unsure about it, let's say you've got things happening in your room or you've got different visions coming, You're getting different sensations, or maybe you're hearing noises or voices or knocks, or maybe even seeing bits of shadows at the corner of your eye that you're not sure that you see or not. And as you begin to turn your head to have a look at it, of course, there's nothing there. I ask you then to listen to your body, look at your body, look at the feeling of your body. And again, I'm talking about your energetic body, your sensations, which are then reflected into your physical body. First of all, have you got pressure? Have you got something buzzing around your throat? Does your throat feel expanded? Is the eye and the band around the head working? And this sounds all a bit, well, I'm confronted by something strange. I ain't got time to do that. But that little bit of stop, that little bit of awareness and thinking and feeling will actually tell you a great deal. And it'll also give you the ability to then have some control. Spirit there, I can feel it. I can feel the sensation in there. Next sensation on my throat's going to start to be active. Although it's my third eye, I can see something. Means everything will work out a far better way. So if you ain't got no ability, or you're not practicing any of that stuff, you can still be aware of what's going on. And the untrained medium, the untrained clairvoyant, can actually start to see what is happening by listening and feeling and becoming aware. So as I said, there are some blockages to this flow. And you'll find the biggest blockage we find that may actually surprise you. And you think it's going to be fear, and you think it's going to be, well, prejudice or something. But the biggest blockage we find is somebody trying too hard. Somebody trying to make it happen. Somebody trying to get every last morsel of information. Why is this? Why is this a problem? Well, you're trying to force things through when really it's just got to be let. You just got to let it go, let it flow. If you try to push too much water through a hole, it don't work, does it? You know, it actually is a hindrance. So even though you've got the right intention and you want to save the world with your mediumship, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to be a superstar, whatever you say. You can actually get in your own way and make things worse. And of course, nerves and all that type of stuff also inhibits. So the purest way, the right way, the way everything works at its best way. And really this comes with experience, but you can kind of get the experience immediately, if you know what I mean. Because all you have to do is just let it happen. Let it happen. You know, we've got all the information our side, and we ain't holding it back. We ain't saying, I'm not going to give you my name. I ain't going to give you my job. Not going to tell you this. Don't work like that. We'll give you everything you need. It's like you try to push it. You try to mould it. You try to wiggle it around a bit and use your thumb to push it down a hole, if you know what I mean. All you got to do is let it come out by letting it come in. And then all the flow, all the linking, all the information, all the lovely bits of juicy information and facts, the crazy stuff, unusual bits, will all just flow quite easily and naturally. And it looks like it only comes with those which are experienced. Well, the truth is, it can happen to the inexperienced and all. They can look experienced rather quickly. Stop trying to make it happen and let it flow. Little bit of groundwork, if you know what I mean, to make sure everything's open and working. You see, us in spirit, we come and stand by you. We want to get a message to our loved one in the physical world. We want to say, hello, love, how are you? What have you been doing? Remember me? My name's Bob, or whatever I got to say. And we want to give it in ways that the client would understand, in our style of speech, our way of getting that information, the way we used to tap our legs, scratch our nose, or do some kind of work. So if you want to do a little bit of an experiment for yourself in times when you sit, try to just let it all go. People say, and I think this medium be one of them, that it takes a little bit of time to get spirit standing, rather than standing in a way, to stand a bit closer and a bit closer and a bit closer until they're standing right on your shoulder. It don't make sense, does it? Why would we start by standing in the corner in the other room when we want to give a message to our daughter or son or something? We're automatically right by your shoulder. It's just your perception, your ability to open to us. So really, what we're saying is, get out of the way. You drive us mad. You've got to put your own blockages in. And then all of a sudden, we have to do something a bit crazy at times to make our presence known. It happens. Not very often, of course, but it happens. So if you're working with this gift, either for the beginning, and you want to understand spirit being with you, and you want to understand what's going on in your life and be able to access all that spirit is and all the bits we've got, you just got to let us do it with you. We ain't going to give you nothing that you can't pass on. We know our daughter or son on the other side. We know what needs to be said. We know the way to say it. You ain't got to try and interpret. It'll come. So those people which work the best with it are those which have trusted it, relaxed into it, and just let it happen. And that's the advice I would always give to anybody that's trying to figure this out and to understand it and gain access to it. The gift is sitting on your shoulder already. And you can choose to just open the box and let it all fall out and fall through you. We'll be in control of how much intensity you will get. If you allow us to do it, we will not give you anything that's too big that you cannot handle. So if you're beginning, we won't give you something that's massive. if you know what I mean, will only give you something that you can have trust and faith and enjoyment with. A lot of people have this gift, so many more that you could ever think of. You'd be very surprised to see how many people have the ability to use spirit connection. And then the small percentage that actually do. Small percentage. And then the small percentage of people which actually stay with it, stick with it. It's kind of like, having all the ability but then choosing not to use it. It's like you got all these options and I think I'll ignore it and do something else. So I've got to come back to the body bit. You know what I'm like, I've got to jump around a little bit. I can't give you a nice straight talk on a straight line. So think about the body. I said that the upper heart vibration needs to lift, be active. The throat needs to be open and vibrating at a good rate. The third eye needs to be open, to be clear, and needs to be vibrating at a high rate. Those people, when they are finished with this work, if you do not fully close up and say, all right, I'm shutting down now, putting the shutters down, locking the door, the day's over, I'll see you in the morning, whatever you got to say. If you don't do that properly, you find people get lingering effects within their chest, as in the heart seems to be fluttering for a bit of time. You find these people can also have headaches when the energy has not been released. Find people then have trouble sleeping because that energy is still buzzing in their head. People have not cleared the excess energy that lingers around the throat because it gets trapped. And they can get ringing in their ears. They can get sore throats. They can get neck pain. All this can vary in degree from negligible to substantial. Your body's a bit active, isn't it? Anyway, you find that if that can just be gently cleaned up, gently cleaned away, the energy around the throat dusted off. Go on, don't need you anymore, go away, you know what I mean? Cleansed. You find some of them sensations will disappear. The throat in particular, the third eye also. And wherever your weak spot is, the excess energy will find it. You know what it's like? You put pressured water down a pipe, it's going to find its weakest point. Kind of like the same thing. So it's important that those who wish to stop the connection, either just temporarily or even on a more permanent basis, fully set their intentions to stop, to close, to shut down, to dust away the energy lingering around and let it fall to one side in whichever way it needs to go. You might give it away, you might just dust it off. And the energy then can be passed on to somebody else in need. And they can have a bit of it and all. And share it with them. So if you're developing this, And if you are wanting to develop it, or you're feeling the connections very strong around you and not knowing what to do, of course, in part, I've covered a little bit of that. But it's important at these stages that you get a bit of guidance, a little bit of help from somebody to say, well, let's control it, let's work with it, let's narrow it down, let's focus it. And then you'll find that it works clearer. So a little bit of help would help. And also then to not think you're a bit of a weirdo. You're a bit strange. I'm a nutcase. I must be going raving mad. Now, although those words are a bit funny, I bet you've used them and you understand what I'm saying. You know what I mean, don't you? Yeah, you do. You all felt them. You all wondered. The truth is, you ain't going mad. The perception's just there. It's more natural, you see, to have the connection than not. Well, think about it. You're already spirit love, ain't you? If you're already on the spirit side, you just got an attachment of a body. But what's the difference? It's natural. It only feels unnatural because you're used to thinking your body's all that you've got. You think, I am these arms and I am these legs. It ain't true. And that's why I've said before, and I know others have said it and all, that there ain't no veil between us. There ain't no blockage. There ain't no, oh, you shall not go beyond this point. How does that make sense? Don't make any sense at all, because you're already the other side of the veil. All you're doing is you're not letting the bit come through you. Not letting the information flow through. You're putting the veil up. We ain't. We want it. We want to be talking to you. We want to be getting messages through. We want to give you knowledge. We want to tell you how to live your life, that everything will be all right in the end. Just that you think that you don't deserve it, or you're a bit of a fruitcake or something to getting the information. Why don't you have a practice? Here is a good one. Good exercise. This is a Charlie practice. Why don't you have a little bit of a practice and go, just for, let's say, an hour or a day, or just for this session, as in the reading you're going to do, or the healing, or the bit of loving, whatever you're going to do, or just for an hour, if you're developing and you're wondering, why don't you pretend the veil ain't there? What would happen? What would happen if we did let everything go and let spirit come and say hello and do whatever? See, automatically, there's a few of us thinking, oh, that would be scary. Never know what's going to happen. Can you see now that it's you putting the veil up? You putting the blockage. You making it hard work. You making it difficult. So, let's carry on a bit further. So all of a sudden, let's say you're sitting down and either you're practicing with somebody in front of you or something a little bit more formal, and you sit there and you think, all right, I've got to find a spirit for this person, see who's here. And you start to feel the sensations, don't you? Start to feel a very slight sensation of tingliness. Can be very subtle, but it can also be quite substantial. And your preparation, let's open everything up. Let's get myself ready, get my heart going, my voice and my third eye's all doing. It's all concentrated, it's all feeling good. My power of concentration's at me top. I ain't wondering. And then the impression comes. An impression comes to you. Now here, your guide can be very actively involved in allowing this through and happening. So the guide can be getting the information and be passing it to you, as opposed to the spirit directly giving it to you. Now what I mean is, according to your comfort level and how sure you feel, will either let your guide be the link between you and the spirit person, or if you are comfortable enough, will let the spirit come close into your mind. So the guide, if you wish, is there just making it happen because he's got experience working with you. So it's like he kind of cajoles it a little bit and makes it kind of work in the right way, gives you the right impressions with your mind. When we talk about the trance mediumship bit, the guide, once he's connected, will step totally to the side. But with mental mediumship, it is often the guide is there doing the work as well. Got to get everything right. It's like just getting everything in the perfect order, you know, packing a nice little box up and making sure it looks right. It's like your quality control person, making sure it's clear. But as more experience, then you'll find that more and more the spirit will come closer to themselves. Hence you'll find at times that your mediumship readings and will become more trance-like readings. As you gradually let your guide step to one side and the more trust develops with the spirit connection. So those of you which are developing and want to increase their ability, find out who your guide is there. And when I say find out, you don't need a big list of details that I lived here and then I went there, I took this job and I became this or whatever. You don't need a life history of your guide. In fact, you don't even really need to know any details about your guide. You just have to build up that connection. So just if you're developing, just sit and find a nice little comfortableness, a nice little bit of love, if you like, a nice little bit of presence. Somebody's here. You know that feeling? Somebody's here. And your guide will come nicely towards your back and give you a nice little tickle up and down your spine, sometimes across your shoulders. I'm here. No need to worry, love. I've got it covered. And if you can build up that connection, that loveliness, you'll find that naturally all your chakras will vibrate more. It doesn't love make your heart beat quicker, and then all this sensation in your upper half of your body. And didn't we give you the love exercise as a way of blending better? That it increases your vibrational rate. So if you're practicing, just sit with and find some nice feelings and tickles and sensations and be aware of your body. And then the link will be made, at least with your guide. And then you can ask your guide some help. I don't know what to do. I don't know who I should work with. I don't know why. I've got this important task coming up. Can you help? Anything I need to know? And it will feel like, if you got this right, it'll feel like you just step back from your life a little bit. What I mean is, let's say you've got a problem and you want to ask your guide for help. Oh, I've got a problem. I don't know how to deal with this. Well, you sit, you feel, you build that little connection up. You feel your guide come close. And the feeling is like you've taken one step away from the problem, and you start to see the problem in a broader aspect. Just like you're looking at a blade of grass. If you lift your head up, you can see more grass, can't you? And if you lift your head up even further, you can see a whole lot of grass. So then you can see your problems and your situations more clearly. So blending with your guides and asking for assistance increases the vibration of you, but helps you to step slightly away and to see things clearer and in more aspects. And this, of course, is the process of helping with your life, but also developing that connection and love of spirit. And it's such a simple practice, isn't it? I mean, how many times do you have a problem, even if you're the most efficient and practiced medium, how many times do you not think to ask your guides? And really, they just give you a different viewpoint. Step back a bit, love. Let's have a look at this together. And when you do step back, not only do you see more, but there's less drama, less confusion, less fogginess. And even if you don't believe in this, which is going to be very difficult because I can't imagine you watching this if you don't believe it, but even if you're a non-believer and you think, well, I'm going to find out if he's talking sense or not, just try what I just said. Sit, let everything be comfortable, ask your guide, how do I deal with this problem? And let him just gently step you back from the problem. And an answer will come. As long as you listen with an open mind. So there's that word again, open mind, getting in the way, closed mind, prejudices. All kind of makes a bit of sense when it all kind of clicks together a little bit, doesn't it? Well, just to me. Hopefully it does to you. Let's go on a bit further to somebody that's actually now quite practiced. And practiced in the form of passing messages on. There's no degree of difficulty or no difference between clairvoyance and clairaudience. There's no degree of difficulty in getting finite detail, as opposed to just general information. There's no difference in it. You just got to make sure everything's working right and trust it. See, even the word trust kind of says that there's a block. Anybody that's really experienced, you will know if you watch them that the thinking process has disappeared. Their speed of delivery has gone up. The flow of information just seems to fall through them. They're not waiting for other perceptions, which just naturally falls out their mouth when they're giving a message. And you should finish any communication off to your client by finding out from your spirit friend of what they need to do next, or any other information they should have once this is finished. You see, let us say you've got a connection or a reading happening, let's say at 12 o'clock. Your body and mind is going to think it starts at 12 and finishes at, let's say, 1 o'clock, right? But then when you think about it, the link happens just before 12, doesn't it? And probably closes down just after 1. Well, your preparation for it really does begin before that, doesn't it? It start kind of, let's say, begins 30 minutes before. Oh, and you have to close down at the end, don't you? So it actually ends a few minutes after that again. But for the client, it lingers on, it carries on further. Some people need to get information about what they have to do from there onwards. And that can be advice. Don't do this, don't do that, don't look out for this or that. But it also could be physical. Make sure you work with yourself well. Make sure you ground yourself. Take a walk this afternoon. Not from the point of predictive, but from the point that they also need to clear their energy. So any type of reading you think lasts an hour, but actually may last 2 hours. It depends. You have to do the pre-work and trust us to do the work during. And then to some degree the client has to do the work after. It ain't as simple as start, stop. So if you want to lift your ability, I suppose these are the nuts and bolts of it, isn't it? If we want to lift your ability and stop getting in the way, start the motor running and then let it do the work. How's that for a nice little ending? Kind of wraps it up nicely, doesn't it? Start the motor running and then let it do the work. Stop interfering. There you go. All right, I think my lecture's over. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, a little bit of waffle, a little bit of fact, a little bit of useful information, and quite a lot of little chatter bits, all right? Sorry it ain't kind of all nice in a straight line, because that's not the way I work. It all kind of jumps around a bit. All right, everyone. I'll see you again. Well, I'll see you, but you won't see me. Haha. All right. Ta-ra. See ya. As I opened up and said, these styles of talks are meant to be educational and not generic. They are meant to be of assistance both to the experienced, to the novice, and even to those which are just curious. The curious can test and use the exercise that was given. Hopefully, the novice will have some understanding of the sensations and feelings and vibrations that are around. And the experience can use the information given to either understand, to help others with, or to perform better themselves. Now, next week, we're going to talk about this process, the process of trance mediumship. It has one very particular use, of course, which is this style, which is the passing on of information, of knowledge, of guidance through speech. But that, of course, is not its only expression. You would know of people using their hands for artwork, or the expression of passing on healing energy, and others. We will talk about not just the process of how it occurs, but also the correct way it should work, an easier way, if you can allow it to happen in the way we try, the way we express. There has been times within the expressions of this work that it has been made complex, been made difficult to do. We would like to remove as much of that as possible. But that is next week. So I bid you once more a good evening, a good day. May peace be with you, and may it be constantly in your heart.
Welcome back, Mark. It's very good.